Hey friends, welcome. I'm Russell and this is Descended Masters channel. So today's topic is this my last incarnation? Or is this your last incarnation? Now, why am I thinking about this? Just a sense is arising that there's something special about this time now and a transition that is happening. There is a completion of old cycles, of an old energy, very old energy. Now I'm asking you to consider to feel into this at a deep feeling level to see if it is true for you or not. Because what I'm offering is not a standard viewpoint on how reincarnation would work, which is that you keep reincarnating until you master everything, until you've completed until you look like some sort of guru, until you have magical powers or whatever it is, or until you're peaceful all the time, or until you're in the now all the time, like Eckhart Tolle and people like that. My question now is, how do we know that's true, that is where we're supposed to be aiming for, and that we keep coming back until this standard of perfection is reached? Perhaps what's driving me is the insight is coming to me that there's this ending time now, and it's also to do with my age 55 something, of realizing that the things I've struggled with, maybe they'll never go away. The things I've tried to learn and have not learned, maybe they will not be learned. And there's been a sense of first despair and then of letting go, because maybe those don't need to be done. So whatever you've been trying to do, trying earnestly to do and to learn and to get, either physically, materially or spiritually, and you're not getting it, perhaps it's time to consider just letting that go. Maybe it's not meant to happen. Although it can be a fun journey to try and make it happen. Sometimes these things are not going to happen because it's not your thing to get that right. And the whole concept of getting it right is also a flawed concept. It's not compatible with this Aquarian age, which is beginning now, which has begun since 2006 or 2012, true moving into the Aquarian age, which is less about the Piscean age of the guru and the teacher and the Christ-like figure. That is now the second coming. Christ is more like everybody, so it is more democratic in that sense. So you own your enlightenment, you own your life, you own your incarnations, you own your decision about this. Nobody will tell you where you're supposed to go and how your evolution is supposed to look and where your end point is. Okay, so establishing that. Now let's talk about the end points. And this is going to be very personal to you. Like, you got to feel this radical idea that for some of you it will be the last incarnation, even though you're not yet perfect. Why can I say this? If you are the tribe of light workers and wanderers who has been incarnating for a long time on this planet, you will have naturally reached the end of a cycle of great drama. So this life might be very quiet, but previous ones have not been quiet. So now you're sitting here wondering, well, my life is so quiet, I'm so boring. I seem to know stuff. I have an intuitive knowing, but I don't have enough to be a teacher, or I'm not a guru or anything. Great, because that's indicating that you finished that curriculum. There's not much more for you to do. Now, I'm only addressing those for whom this is true, and you'll feel into whether this is true for you or not, or whether you feel I have a lot that I want to do. Learn and become and create, and that feels a stronger, and if that's true, then that's also wonderful, because that is your path of adventure and experience on this plane, in this earth as well. I want to talk specifically to those who have had a long history as light workers here, and possibly originating from Atlantis or the ancient civilization. At that time, of that 13,000 years ago, we were already of a mature soul age level. But wait, don't give this to your ego yet. We were of a mature soul age level of quite high psychic advancement, yet we were not in the heart. And that was part of the chaos that led to the destruction of Atlantis. Then we took a break, it didn't come here for a while, then we started incarnating again. With the karma of Atlantis, with the karma of that downfall, with the karma of what we'd done there. Now, at some stage, you've got to encounter the fact or the possibility that those who are at this end state now, to begin to, the key here is integration. So we will want to integrate this now who we are with that then. And some of that stuff is fairly dark. So if you think you've only been ever like a witch who was persecuted, say, or you've only been on the receiving end, it might be true if that is your path. It might also be true if you've come from before, that was like, that is part of the karma of what happened from earlier. We misused power of a psychic nature because we were still had some 4D powers. And it's just think about it now, even in our current lives now, if we stress, we tend to go in the head, right? So if you already are good in the head and psychic, including psychic ability, when you're under stress, you will go to that psychic ability, and then you can easily abuse those who do not have that. So if you're Atlantean, if you're Atlantean DNA and culture, it will be quite easy to influence those who are Earth human, more Earth human. So you've got a little bit of Anunnaki DNA, which gives you that psychic attunement. So you clearly have that intelligence advantage over the Earth people, but yet with that intelligence advancement is not yet great wisdom, and as a tendency to power and a tendency to superiority. So that could become misused. Now this is just one story of the potential shadow of the light worker, the dark side of the light worker, which was potentially in that time long ago. Could also have been more modern, more close to now. But if you just follow that story, if you resonate with that idea, now is the time for that group to consider completion, because we've explored power, and in the last 2,000 years or so, we've explored victim consciousness, being the ones who are abused. Now the task is to integrate that dark and the light, the power and the powerless, victim and abuser. That we are all of that. Now this is the end state. So this is why if you look into life, why am I not super successful? Why is this not? Because you're doing the inner work. You're doing the inner work of integration, which is huge stuff, and you're not even aware that you're doing it. But the end time of that cycle of lives is a potential to end now, and to bring it to an end is the integration. Is simply integrating. I am that, and that, all of that, and I withdraw involvement in the drama of that, including the drama of enlightenment, including the drama of wanting to become this creature who doesn't suffer, who's beyond all that, who's eternally in the now, it's not for us, because we don't have to have that. It's another form of elitism. It's another form of duality, of imbalance. I only want to be in the now, in a way that is not suffering. I want to be at peace all the time. No, forget about it. If you're not at peace now, maybe just forget about being at peace. You are at peace. The peace is around you. Here, in the room around me, peace. Sometimes in here, sometimes not peace. It doesn't matter, because you can fight this. You can keep fighting this forever. It's not going to. It's the duality aspect of this place. It does not go away. What changes is your perspective, or how you live with that duality. So within you is the oppressor and the oppressed, the victim and the abuser. And for those of us who are sensing completion, now's the time to own that. Okay, some signs, if you might be in this crowd. They're not exclusive, so if I don't mention what you are, that's fine. You join the club. One of the things that I notice in myself and my friendship circle is one of the things is we don't have children, or not that many, and now don't feel left out if you do, but this is one of the possible characteristics of people who are really nearing completion. It's a deep sense of I don't want to be karmically involved, and I want to question everything that comes to me. Like, is this really good? Is this really what I need? Just because society says it is. When they are beautiful light workers who have children, and that is their wonderful task, because of course the new earth needs people, right? And you might find in other parts of your life that you are shedding karmic attachments. So you could have children or not, but I just noticed in my circle it's quite strange. We're all middle-aged something, and there's like maybe somebody has one child, or a bunch of them have no children, or it's simply because the drive was not there. So what is that drive not there? It's wanting simplicity. So even if you have children, look in your life and find the part that is longing for simplicity and is actually living simplicity. You might be quite meditative, or you might really live a simple life, or you might be involved in business or work of some kind, and you wonder why you are not as successful or as ambitious as perhaps you should be. You may be very intelligent, for instance, but you're not entirely using this intelligence, getting involved in projects, or you get involved in projects, and then at a certain point it sort of it goes away, and you don't have the courage, you don't have the spirit to continue. Why? Because you're working more from the heart, and the heart does not have a plan that has a nice label. Okay, we're going to write novels, and we're a publisher, we're a novelist, have a label. You see, that's my thing, my little trigger point. You might have that same thing. You wanted this, it just doesn't happen. Because the heart doesn't know anything about those ambitions. You will live day to day more. Life can look quite precarious financially, but yet you're somehow okay. So these are some of the signs of at least a late stage karmic path. Another thing you might notice is you tend to put yourself down as not knowing very much, not being very spiritually advanced. Or you seem to know spiritual stuff, but others out there, you look at them and admire them because they're big on YouTube or Instagram or something, and they seem to have it all together. And why are you not there? If you look carefully inside, you'll find a part of you that says, you know what, been there, done that. Or you might hang out with them for a while and buy their course, and then suddenly one day you just, I'm not learning from this person anymore. I've moved on. They were just there to remind me of something. Okay, so these are like the final stage, my friends, is very hidden. You're hide even from yourself. You're like the Jedi who have to forget that they're Jedi, so that they can't be found by the Empire that's looking for them. You'll hide even from yourself because it becomes so simple. Another thing that you do, you hide your power because maybe it didn't go down too well last time you used it. Either you were the victim or you were the perpetrator. So now is the time to look again at power and bring it out in a positive sense, but not necessarily to change the world around you. The world doesn't need changing, guys. If you want, here's another thing. Strong desire to change the world. We have it in us, but it can be a trap as well, because you get caught into the karma of it, the light and dark of it. I get caught, I watch the news, and I get, there's a drill next door, thank you very much. Peace. We get caught up in these things, but the things is just step back. We're not going to solve that problem. We're not going to solve that. Our way is to integrate. I have been that and that. I am both sides. That becomes your last. Now when I say, let's get back to this question, last incarnation. It's not necessarily the last you'll ever have here, but it is the last of the karmic incarnations where we are working off the crap of our journey. And it's not crap, actually it's divine, it's beautiful. We had to go through all that. We had to experiment with power, we had to mess it up, we had to lose it. Now here we are, very simple, hidden even to ourselves. So the idea is that at this time now, it's astrologically aligned to that end of the Atlantean era. I'll talk about this in another video, but now is a perfect time to bring this to completion, all the themes of that. So consider that this is the end of that karma, and what's happening now is that you will be processing stuff that you don't even know you're processing. So sometimes life can feel quite hard. You might have health issues. No matter how much meditating and positive thinking, you've got health issues or relationship issues or something, some issue that just there doesn't get fixed. That's a sign of deep inner process of karmic stuff coming out. It just wants you to sit and be present with it. Don't listen to those who say, "Oh, you've got work to do. You're not looking at stuff in your life." Sometimes you can't even see this thing. It's just working out. All you've got to do is sit and allow that to cook off and be present to it. Be faithful to yourself. Find your presence within that. Don't beat yourself up. Knowing that you're dealing with ancient dark stuff that is coming up from the subconscious, you don't even need to know what it is. Just hand it over to your higher self. Like hand it over to God, because you can't carry all of that. In this way, this time now becomes your finishing time. So don't feel you have to be out there achieving, even spiritual. You don't have to be on the stage. You're here to complete an ancient history that goes to Atlantis and before, to even Orion. If you tune to that sort of alternate history, it's very ancient. It's so ancient. It'll terrify you just if you knew it. That's why we don't know it. So you do know stuff that you don't know that you know. That's why I call us descended masters. We descended. We don't know what we know. And it's on purpose, because if we knew what we knew, we would go into power mode again, into psychic thing. That's why we don't have our psychic abilities anymore, largely because we purposely cut them off, so that why we wouldn't go to our comfort zone of power. We would go into the heart. The heart is vulnerability. The heart is true power, but it is power that comes through you from the formless into form. You're not in control of that. It takes a huge amount of courage to let go into this, to live in this place, because the world might see you as not successful. You might see yourself as not successful, but you're living from the heart. You're following what makes sense to you, or what's passionate to you, what you love. Everybody else is following money, or what society tells you should do. But you're following this rocky road where you don't know from day one to the next what you're really doing. To feel into that if it feels true for you. So the only thing to get here is to live more in the heart. And you're not going to be... The heart will not allow... Well, the heart has no interest in you becoming a Jesus or a guy on the stage, or it doesn't care about that stuff. The heart cares about now, what's here now. Like Russell sitting here making a video. That's all. That's completion of life. That's all there is. Nothing is outside of this. You here watching or listening, that's it. Finished. There's no other story outside of that. Just presence and awareness and this life happening almost like pixels just on a screen. Nothing to do, nothing to fix. Even in yourself there's nothing to fix. There's nothing to achieve. This is divine. This is like the Buddha. This is all the Christ that you need. Now, if one day your heart brings you onto the stage, then you'll be there, but it will be the same as this now. Different pixels, different colors, that's all. There's nothing beyond this, because the one good thing about reaching a certain age, as I said, for me 55 was like quite difficult, because I had to face the things that I would never do, or would seem like I'd never do them. And that was quite hard, but also then came a release of, I don't have to do them anymore. I've given my best on these various passions and things. Now I can let that go. And now there's been this year especially a lot of letting of, okay, God, you speak, you live through me, because I don't know anymore. I'm giving up. I'm here with energy, but I've lost completely what I'm supposed to be doing. And that was brought to me by a health issue this year that's kept me not really working much this year. So there has been a lesson in letting go and a lesson in presence. So what can I do? Well, I can sit and make some videos. And that is the divine moment. That is divine. What is beyond there? Okay, what is beyond? So your life, what is beyond? Just let nothing be beyond this. You don't have to get anything right. If your relationship, don't worry. You do what you can. So you do some therapy, but there's no you to fix. The real you is the one that is aware of this. Okay, so now you can be aware right now of the you that is aware of this video. And it's a very ordinary, simple presence, just here. Okay, very simple. So don't overlook your simplicity, the natural simplicity of your essence. Here, let there be nothing beyond this that calls to you, that needs to be done. Nothing needs to be done anymore. When you know that is your last incarnation of have to, the last karmic incarnation. Now from here, friends, we can choose to return, but it's the start of a new cycle. So we're simplifying and letting go, but at the end of this you can say, hey, it's cool, I'm done with planet Earth, I want to off, or I'm going to go to a different timeline of Earth. Or you can say, you know what, this was so fun, this new Earth, I want to be part of this Aquarian age. This is cool. I'm going to start it. I'm going to come in, incarnate again, without all that baggage of millions of years of evolution. I'm just going to keep the wisdom and the peace. I have no karma. See, now then you can become a teacher of that new age, just by being yourself. That is one possibility. I don't know maybe when I get there, I'll decide, hey, Earth is really amazing. It is beautiful and amazing. It'll be more so even when we finish with that karma of it. Or you might decide to zoot off somewhere else. Who knows? Whatever suits your passion in that moment, the passion of God in that moment, in that time, to explore next, you will have the freedom to do it. Okay, so let me end there. Your last karmic incarnation is now, if that resonates with you, if you feel a sense of completion, so you can meditate on that completion, integration of light and dark, letting things go, being okay in yourself. There's nowhere else you have to be or go or do or achieve. This is it. This is what you've been trying to achieve for millions of years of evolution of your soul. Okay, if you don't like that, cool, then carry on with this, because that means you have other amazing work to do. Forthwith there. I'm talking now to those who've sensed the completion. It's quite simple. Okay.